Hi, and welcome back to another monthly market update for the Columbus, Ohio real estate market. Again, I'm Ryan Deeter with Key Realty, and today we're just going to dive right into the numbers, kind of look at what's going on in the market. So, as we've known, the last few videos I've done, we always get the numbers from the Columbus board about a month behind. So we're looking at September's numbers for the month of October. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. I'm about to do this. There we go. Share my screen with you so you can see the numbers as well, and we can just go through it together. For those who like to see numbers, this is great. And always remember, I'm always happy to share these numbers with you individually if you'd like to see them for yourself and have them on hand. But this is the numbers for September. It's weird to think it's already October, towards the end of October, going into November. But here's what we're looking at in September. So still a very competitive market. For those who are wondering, it's still very competitive. We're starting to see a little bit more things sit a little longer, but overall it's still very competitive. The best thing I like to do is I like to compare these numbers to last month's and the following months to see where the trends are, what's going on, so you guys can start realizing that as well. So this is September. Looking back at October, what I like to see is the average sell point here. I want to focus on this right now. We're seeing the average sell price is actually down a little bit, and a lot of people are starting to ask about what's going on in the market. Is there a bubble? Is this where we are? Kind of see some dipping coming down from last month and even the previous months. Kind of see the average sell price is going down. In fact, it actually peaked last June at 316. And so now we're looking at 301. So it is going down, the average sale price. That just means, overall, all the homes that sell within the entire MLS. This is the entire MLS. So you actually see all the counties, you can look up here, all the counties this includes. It's a lot of counties, a lot of, large area. This is the average price point. Now this is I'm going to go scroll down here to this little graph here, because this shows us that this is actually a pretty normal dip in price points. And so we see, from this is 2013. We see in 2013, it starts in the lower end. It builds up through the spring into the summer. And then after summer, the prices start to dip off into the winter, and it builds up in the spring, summer. So you can see these trends throughout the years. It's a pretty normal trend since 2013. If we go back even further, we're going to see that a little bit off during the recession years. But overall, this is pretty normal. And so when we get up to 2021, what we're seeing here, as we saw, prices, were dipped after 2020, dipped a little bit still, even with that crazy 2020 year, we still saw the dip into January, and then things just spiked. You can see here things spiked, and it actually, compared to every other year, it's actually flatlined a little bit more, more relative than the last few years. And then now we're starting to see a little bit of dip, and that dip's going to continue down. And I think we're going to continue to see that normal cycle that we've been seeing the last few years. So that's something like just kind of some normalcy, which is kind of nice in this market. We can start, kind of predicting a little bit more some of the normalcy that's going on. So average price point's a good thing to keep an eye on. It's still gone up year over year, 8.5%, which is a crazy, appreciation rate. Still, it's not I think we're back in May. Yeah, we had a 21% appreciation rate May to May. So not the 20%, but still seeing an 8% increase year over year from September to September, which is still a very high price point. Something else I want to take a peek at is the days on market, because this is something that, as we know, it's a hot market, and this is really what they dictate, how hot of a market is, how quick homes are selling. And so we are seeing I'd say a little bit of a slowdown, just a couple of days longer typically. Then last month we had 11. Last few months I think we had 11. 11 in July as well, and then back to June 11. So sticking at 11. We had May 14. So we're back, kind of what we saw, spring, April we saw 16. So getting closer, a little bit up. So it's a couple of days. So it's not really a huge difference. Still see we're much, compared to last year, it's still 33%, selling 33% faster essentially than last year. And so that number is still very, very low. In fact, I like to remind some of my sellers that sometimes, in a normal market, 6 months is kind of what a good balanced market would look like. So 14 days compared to 6 months is an extreme market, and just kind of, this is what we're used to. So if even 14 days, if your house sits for 14 days, you kind of feel like a little bit of like what's going on. But because of what we're used to in the last few years, it's just been crazy, and what the markets, what all the news outlets are telling us, how fast things are selling, and friends and family that may have sold their house in 3 days, and things like that, and everyone knows somebody that has. And so we're starting to see some things sit along, but at the same time, the data is showing us that things are still selling pretty quick. The last thing I want to point out today, really focus on this, this session, is inventory of homes. So the last few months, I'm going to go, let's start back in January. So let's go back to January. The inventory was, 1,800 homes, which was, just crazy low back in January. What's month supply of inventory basically means that if no new homes hit the market, how long would it take for all those homes to sell? It was 0.6 months. So Janie, that's extremely low. Balanced market where we want to see a 6-month inventory. Again, March wasn't much different. Going to March, was this April? It's starting to tick up. And what you notice is that May, same, starting to just get more and more listings as we go on. July, I think June, August, we got up to 3,400 here. And so we had August, everything was trending up from January, every month, a little bit more homes, more and more homes are hitting the market. When I say more, not much, more by a couple hundred. And then this was the first month actually we went backwards. So we actually, compared to last year, there's more, but this month compared to last August, we actually had less homes. And so this is a trend that I want to keep an eye on, because what, you see there's a 400 home, about a 400 home jump from July to August, and then August, September, it went backwards by a couple hundred. So the trend, the reason I want to keep an eye on this, because everyone keeps talking about, we've got to be a bubble, prices, and the market's got to stop, slow down sometime. And this is the number that really dictates that. Honestly, it's supply and demand. When it comes down to simple supply and demand, how many homes are on the market versus how many people are looking to buy. And as long as we stay this low and even lower, that there's got to it's hard to say that Columbus is going to go backwards because we're growing so quick. Now, I did see an article that this was the first time the state of Ohio had more deaths than births. So the state as a whole is not growing that way, but Columbus, we're still having the census data came out that Columbus is still growing rapidly. I can't remember exactly the numbers, but the predictions that they made of Columbus just growing at an incredible rate is still on track. And so we're still having more people move to Columbus than really than ever. And so those homes, people are going to buy homes moving here, and as long as we have a low number of inventory and a high demand, prices are going to continue to go up. Now there's got to be, I do think there is a point where that slows down, and I think we're getting close to that, where even the 8% appreciation rate is very high when we start hitting 300,000, the 300,000 price point. That's a lot of appreciation for 1 year, even then. But as long as people are still buying houses and still looking to live here in Central Ohio, that I don't see the values going backwards. But that there's something that could change. There's something that can really make this number go up. Then it could change that. But as of now, we're not seeing that. We're not seeing trends of that. And I would like to see what happens this next month to see if the trend is still going backwards, and see what spring brings. If we see a lot more homes hit the market this spring, if people are just kind of waiting to spring to list, if there's a large number of them waiting, because we had, again, going back to spring, it was a very low inventory market. So is there a pent up demand for people to post to list their house in the spring? So we'll see, but no signs and no major indications showing that. So again, just to recap that, basically means simple supply and demand is going to keep the market kind of where it's at, and continue to grow as long as people move to Columbus and are buying homes. So Any questions? I'm always happy to talk one-on-one with you guys to kind of go over your thoughts and opinions. Would love to hear from you. And if you like this information yourself, just reach out to me. Happy to share this with you. This is public information. So you can always go to the Columbus Board website as well and actually get it yourself. Yeah. And if you have any other questions, again, I'm Ryan Deeter. Feel free to email me. My email is ryandeeterrealtor@gmail.com. And we'll love to have a conversation with you and how this impacts you. And I can always pick out exactly your community you live in. If you want to see the numbers of your individual community that you live in, happy to send you those as well and have a conversation about what you're doing. Because, what's happening in Delaware County may be totally different than what's happening in, say, Hocking County and those areas that, sometimes that are pulled up on this number. But yeah, happy to talk to you about that stuff and always enjoy the conversation. So again, have a great day. Bye.